welcome. Over the Top Podcast. It's your boy HD in the building with the Over the Top Podcast crew. That's who we got on deck tonight. RJ Run, what's going on, my friend?
Hey man, I'm chilling. Happy to be here.
Happy to be here. You said a phenomenal quote today. To my, I love being black. Well, I do too, sir. I love being black. Love our culture. Q, what's going on, man?
Um, Best team in the NFL so far.
Agree.
If anyone says anything else, you're just lying to yourself at this point.
No
At least
one
right
cares.
now.
No one
We'll wait till February, but right now,
Yeah.
this guy.
There
And
we
that
go.
guy.
There we
Well, you
go.
know February
And that
don't count, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it don't count till
You don't get
February. It don't count
that
till
part,
February.
literally.
It don't.
And
Man,
then you can go all the way.
sometimes
Again.
you gotta enjoy the journey as well as the destination. Playmaker, what's the deal, buddy?
Hey man, I'm maintaining. How you doing?
Incredible. What's going on your way? Everything good?
Oh man, I'm happy to be among the living.
That was a mode for you to say, but that's fine. I am too. I am too. And Miss T, what's going on, Toya?
Hello. So today I rang the bell.
You rang the bell. What bell you rang today?
Rang the bell today. Today was the last chemo.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. I'm
tired, but I'm good.
Hey, that's a blessing. That's a blessing. We hope that we continue the healthy streak on that end. We definitely prayed it for you for that. Hey, let's get started, man. On what we got on deck, Toya.
So we have a very interesting Ask Toya tonight. So, dear Toya, first let me say I enjoy listening to the show. Keep up the good work. I'm a 52-year-old man married to a 48-year-old woman. We've been together 8 years, married 6. When we got together, my wife had 1 kid and I had 2. And now we have 4 all together. My wife's daughter was 4 when we met. And then we had a daughter together. My older 2 are grown and love my wife as if she were their mom. I was a widower, so my wife has taken on the role of mom with them. My wife was married and her ex walked away from his child's life. He hasn't seen his daughter since she was 2 years old. She is now 12. I'm her dad. I'm sorry. She calls me daddy, but now her biological father wants to be involved. And I would never try to keep a man from his child. My wife doesn't want to either. But our daughter wants nothing to do with this man. We don't want to push her. I know what it feels like to not have a father, and I don't want her to regret not speaking to him in the future. How do we convince her to at least meet with him one time? I'm really trying to be a good father and do the right thing at the same time. I appreciate any advice. Signed, Understanding Father.
All right, Jay, let's go with you on this one. You start out. What's your thoughts?
When I read the post, it really impacted me in terms of the way that he processed. I really do think that that young lady really does need to have an understanding of where she comes from, for medical reasons, for spiritual reasons, for medical reasons, spiritual reasons, a number of different things that come together to make you as the person. The importance of that to me, for her, is to find out where she comes from. And I think, in essence, to forgive him. Um, I'm not going to directly quote what it says in the Bible, but it says, if you don't learn to forgive, you're the person that's caught in the trap or ensnared. And I'm saying it wrong, but I'm saying it in the right spirit. Let him go. Forgive him for what has happened, and you'll get the release. So it's not even about him. It's about you, baby. And I know she's not the one that wrote the Ask Toya, But I think as a concerned father, he needs to appeal to her and really make her aware that it's about her understanding her history and where she comes from. And the forgiveness is not him, it's for her.
Q.
Mm. I was about to curse. I remember we were on the radio. Um, when she's ready to talk to the daddy that she hasn't seen in 10 years, 10 years, 2 years old, 12 years old, 10 years, she will talk to him. What you can't do is force a preteen, because he's 12, turning into a teenager to do something she doesn't want to do, because that's not going to end well. So when she's ready to talk to her biological father, she will. But trying to force her to do that is not going to end well for anybody involved.
Playmaker.
I kind of agree with both Ron and Q. Um, I think that you don't force a meeting. I think that, you got to start off like, hey, come to some of the dance recitals, come to some of the chorus things, and, first let the father be present. Let him see the daughter from afar, let her see him from afar, let them kind of warm up to the idea of starting and developing a relationship. Don't force a meeting. Let it kind of happen organically after they have kind of seen each other from afar and have something to kind of break the ice with.
So I think I kind of share the sentiments across the board. I don't think forcing a child to see um at that age to see the biological father maybe a stretch. But I do think there need to be several conversations with mom and child, and have them have that conversation of not necessarily what happened, because a lot of stuff what happens is not necessarily a child's business. I don't think, but I think but I think it should be some conversation about a father, give them some tidbits about a father, give them tidbits of why the mother felt like that she should have some relationship with the father, her biological father. So I do think that conversation need to be had. I don't think the stepfather need to push. I don't think it need to be pushed, but I do think encouragement and conversation need to be had. I also think that no, maybe I mean maybe if it's gonna be a meeting, it's gonna be a meeting with everyone. I don't necessarily think you need to be lurking and stalking. I mean, from a distance, I know you're not going that route, but I do think there should be family meetings where everybody's together. When you explain to a child that it's good for her to know her history and know where she come from. But forcing a child, I don't think forcing a child to me is not gonna help. And just allowing the father to come back with no conversation is not gonna help. I do think it should be a conversation. I don't think you should force the child to do anything, but I think you should encourage the child to have to know her history and where it comes from, and I think that the mother need to reassure the father that's in the house now that nobody's taking his spot as dad. I think that's also important to keep things going forward. So that's my thoughts. T, what you think?
First of all, I commend this man. And he's not trying to force her. He literally said, I don't want to force her to do it. But you have to
Yeah, I was
commend
gonna
a
say
man.
that.
I'm like, where do y'all get
Thank you
this
for
force from?
We're not
yeah, I was
forcing.
like
I mean,
force.
I don't
He
mean to
said, he
put.
literally said, I don't want to force her to do it. But
I'm
this is
reading
a
it
man.
now. I'm like, I'm
I ain't
tripping or
mean to force.
something.
I do apologize.
This is a man
I don't
who
think I said
knows.
force.
This is a man who knows what it's like to not have a father in his life. Now, I don't know. I mean, I know we're children of separation, but I know what it's like to not have a biological father in my life. So I understand where he comes from. And I get what Quentin said too. As a tween, You can't just say, you know, you need to see your father. Um, the conversation has to be had with all three. I hate the word step. Please don't use that word again. This is her father. He is the bonus. Bonus means he has extra love in his heart to love someone else's child that is not his. Step means I'm stepping all over your child. I can't stand that word. Bonus is the best word for an extra parent who loves, he is her daddy. He's been in her life since she was 2 years old. This is the only man that she knows. He has to understand that too. But like Quentin said, when she gets to a certain age, eventually she might want to know why. She was so young when it happened to her, so she doesn't really know the difference yet. There's no difference. So, but hopefully, when she gets to a certain age, she wants to have a conversation. I don't think that it should be pushed on her. If you've already asked her and she's given you your answer, that is literally the answer you're going to get. And you just have to explain to that biological father that this is where she is right now. And you have to understand that. I am, my girls' therapists tell me to ask every month. And I express to my girls, if you want to see your father, if you want to have a conversation with him, mommy will try every way possible to see if that can happen. And once a month when we do our girls' night out or our movie night, we have that conversation. Now we don't, because they're like, stop asking us. But I know once they get to a certain age, they're gonna want to know why. They're gonna want to know what was your reasonings for leaving and walking away forever. For me, I was 18 and I went and found out why. And I was blessed to get my biological father back in my life until he passed away my sophomore year of college. So eventually she might want to know why, but right now, I don't think you should push the issue. She said no. You know how tweens are. I have two. So when they say what they say, and they mean what they say. I pray it works out for you. I hope our advice was good. I think everybody's advice was good tonight. Good job, fellas. I have to give my kudos to the fellas. But as always, please keep us updated. I want to say this. I did get an update on the oh God, my brain just went dead. I have an update and I'll do it next week. On an Ask Toya we had, I got an update today of how it turned out. I will express it on next week's show because it's long. I like updates. Thank y'all for the updates. Thank you for continued questions. Hopefully we are gonna have another Ask Toya only show coming up. So get your questions in. It's gonna be both male and female, so I'm excited. And as always, you can reach me at AskToya, TOIA74 @gmail.com or Ask Toya on Facebook. Thank you.
Good stuff, good stuff. And guys, we definitely appreciate the Ask Toyas. We definitely gonna get to them. So she'll keep sending them. So we do a great job with that. So let's jump into our topic, man. Black women are disappearing at an alarming rate. In 2022 alone, more than 97,000 Black women were reported missing. This according to the 2022 Missing Persons and Unidentified Persons Statistics, UNCIC. And we believe that there are even more out there. Yet their stories are not even making the national headlines or being told. According to the Urban Institute, only 7% of all missing person cases involving people of color receive national media attention. In those early years, beyond the black press, despite black women representation of only 18% of missing cases, black women are often targeted, particularly regarding sex trafficking and other issues. It was an interview that was done with predators and pimps during this article, and they actually reveal that they actually target black women because they believe no one will come look for them, and the penalty if they do get caught will not be as harsh. For trafficking them also. Also, black women are not seen as victims. They're often stereotyped as promiscuous and responsible for their disappearance. Their white counterparts, although, are viewed as a damsel in distress and needing to be rescued. Now I wrote the agenda for black women, but it's also appeared as the black girls also come. They go in this context because they go into the same pool. So Q, I'm gonna start with you with this one. Why do you believe that so many missing black women cases go unreported?
First off, sorry. Um, Interviewing pimps is insane. Let's start right there. But I think I'm reported because a lot of times okay. I'm gonna say it because in this case, the black women are right majority of the time. Black women are not protected how they should. Now, the problem lies is when we do protect them and it's still our fault, but that's a whole nother conversation. But statistically speaking, they aren't protected how they're supposed to be, which is with a lot more care and a lot more supervision. Even if they don't want it, and they claim they don't want it, we should. More people should. And that's why it goes unreported, because when they go missing, I see it on you see it on social media, but you don't see it in the news. So that's also kind of a news police report issue. Black men don't protect them enough, and then the police don't protect them enough. And there's a question. That question dives into the next question that's being asked. But
Okay.
yeah, generally not protected enough.
Yeah, sir. We get interviews from all walk of life. We want to get to the root cause. Sometimes you got to interview those pimps and hustlers to get to the root cause of the problem, sir. So we did deep on here over the top
The
podcast.
pimp,
We
and
did
he got.
deep.
Oh,
Interview the pimps and the hustlers.
we did we did we did deep.
you interviewing a robber.
Hey. Sometimes they give the inside scoop. All right, Jay, I'm coming with you with this one. Why do you believe that given why do you believe given the predators or I'm trying to rephrase it. What do you believe give the predators the confidence to know that there no one would come look or come to the aid of our black women or black daughters if they be abducted? Where did that
Man, this
mentality come from?
I mean, I'm gonna say like this vibe is gonna be a little different for me, but I'm gonna say we live in a patriarchal society. So if you identify the value of man versus woman, in all true honesty, men are valued more than women in this society in some aspects, and they're afforded a level of power and influence. The reality is that all women are not necessarily valued. I hate to say that, but that's a guaranteed truth. But if white America has a cold, black America has the flu or pneumonia. So when you identify how women are treated in various different stages and different places, there are behaviors that I've seen relative to the courts that have been very disgusting. Our Supreme Court justice, who was just newly minted in the last administration, is accused of sexual assault and was found to have, you know, displayed some behaviors that were inconsistent, and still he was still elected to the Supreme Court. Clarence Thomas, the same. So you got two guys on the Supreme Court, the highest court in the land, that make permanent laws that have dubious distinctions of having behaviors that are relatively inappropriate with women. But black women get it bad because distinctly, for me, there's a perception that, and man, this is hard to say in such a short order. So Lord help me, that they want to be independent. And our thought process and giving them their independence sometimes exposes them. And I think that in and of itself is a hard thing. So it's a balance between affording them the opportunity to have a level of expression, but at the same time covering and protecting them. Real quick story. Last night, my wife and I went out and grabbed food for our kids. And we all went to one restaurant, and she went to a restaurant to get a burger for my son over on Summit Avenue in Greensboro, right down the street from A&T. And this guy came over and asked her for money. And when he came over and asked her for money, he started standing there and he was looking. And I started looking at the band, and I'm just like, yeah, Slim, not tonight, champ. I got off the car. I said, you go get in the car. I got this. Pointed to the lady and effectively let her know that I was picking up my wife's order, got the order. Dude said something to me, but he got stepping when he seen me because he knew it wasn't an easy target. Now, I'm going to say this, and this is something I'm going to say to you, and I'm going to lay my soul bare. Almost 35 years ago, I almost gave my life up for a girl who wasn't deserving of it because I called myself protecting her, and she wore a dress that I didn't want her to wear. And I was going to really hurt these dudes because they said these things, because in the streets, how you live as a young person, your currency is respect. And when a man disrespects you and that's your currency, you're going to act in a violent way. So ladies and men, but I'm going to say this to the ladies, let us love you and protect you. Help us help you live safe and be safe.
Good stuff. G, I'm going with you with this one, Playmaker. Do you believe that the criminal justice system treats black women with the same zeal as they do other ethnic groups?
Zeal. Okay.
That's right. That's right. We over the top, baby. We over the top of the same
We open a
zeal.
dictionary today.
That's
Know
right.
it.
That's right. That's right. That's right. That's
Um,
right.
So there's a lot of different points I could go down, but I'm only going to focus on two pieces. The first thing is when it comes to reporting missing girls, there's a distinct difference between missing and running away. And because of the distinct distinction, a lot of our women, they try to say, are runaways, because if they are labeled as runaways, they don't have, they're a lower priority. If they're labeled as missing, then it has um, there are more things they have to do. For example, if for an Amber Alert, they have to be reported as missing, not just a runaway. And a lot of times that's what happens with our Black girls, is they say that, oh, they're probably not satisfied at home, unhappy at home, and they just ran away with their boyfriend. So therefore they'll show up a little bit later. And that everyone knows that if you watch the first 48, time is essential. So that time delay that it takes for them to actually start looking puts our young girls at a bad position. And then the second thing, a little bit of piggybacking off of what we talked about in a previous podcast, is the intimate partner violence. There was one study that I was reading that said there were at least 4 Black women murdered per day in 2020. And when you peel back the layers of that, you see that a lot of our women are killed by our intimate partners, and therefore, and the reason why that happens is a lot of times they're not taking the domestic violence seriously in our communities. Sometimes those, as we mentioned earlier with the first question, those are unreported. But those two things are kind of key things that are leading to our Black women either being missing or killed.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Toy, I'm coming with you with this. So with the stereotypes that's going around and that is given to black women, do you feel protected as in the society as a black woman?
No. The disparities of it all is that we make up 2% of the population, but 15% of the missing population. And like what everybody said, they're not looking for us. And because of stereotypes is the reason why they're not looking for us. I literally my kids are car riders because to get on the bus in the morning, Zoe would have to be on the bus at 5:30 a.m. And what I see in the neighborhood, and we live in a blue neighborhood, so there's always cops, but not all neighborhoods are made up like this. When you talk about the girls on the other side of town, the west side of town, and they're um out there at 5:30 in the morning by themselves. These are the girls that go missing because of trafficking. Because certain parents can't get up and sit at the bus stop with their teenage daughters. And so how are we supposed to feel protected when nobody's looking for us? There's a girl who's been missing here in Charlotte, Asia Degree, and she was probably one of the biggest cases, been nationally known. There's been several little girls missing and not found because of the lack of what G said, thinking that they're runaways. Why would my 8-year-old run away? And you have these good girls that go missing. The girl a couple weeks ago left her house, was seen walking away from her house on the cameras, going to a friend's house and never made it. But they just assumed she ran away from home because she had a backpack. She was going to study. But because of the color of her skin, so why would we feel protected in that sense when they're not looking for us at all?
Correct. So by contrast, a phrase called missing white women syndrome. It was coined by Gwen Ifield, the late PBS anchor. It refers to the mainstream media infatuation with covering missing or endangered white women, and it seemed disinterested in cases involving missing people of color. Zach Summers, a lawyer who specialized in race, crime, and media coverage, did an entire study on this phenomenon, and he believed that it's influenced by money. Some speculate that speculates that there are also economic calculus of news coverage to consider, and it skews the type of the coverage towards women than black women. So it's the ratings. I guess and when I did the research on him, I felt that his ratings, the ratings are higher or more eyes engaged when there are missing white women than are missing black women. Right, I'm coming to you with this one. His study suggests that covering missing white women is big business. Is the lack of coverage for our black women is due because of ratings and money? Do you feel that way?
You on mute.
I needed to be on mute for this.
Hey, we over the top, man. We gotta stay over the top. We gotta stay true to form, guys. We true to form.
I'm trying to go. There was a film that was shown in the White House called Birth of a Nation. And the film, when it was shown, it was identified that it classified black people as essentially savages, had a white male in blackface. And essentially what they did was vilify the black male as a person that would be attacking the white female. In all true honesty, a lot of what has happened here in America is a direct result of the thought process that the black male is seen as a genetic threat in some ways based upon our ability to create babies that look like us. And so aspects of things that were done to suppress us. But overall, to really jump into the question, well, we must identify, in all true honesty, is that the lack of respect and understanding for where we are as a group, and are there ways to address that issue? Um, we're gonna always be less underserved in that manner. And the underservice is a direct result of the fact that we are marginalized as a group of people. Our focus is we have to learn how to internally love ourselves and really lock in and be better managers and stewards of our families as men, and better stewards of our community. And we'll see some of those changes. Did I answer the question properly? No, but that's what was in my spirit. So forgive me for that, Hank. I varied a little bit, but that birth
Hey,
of a
man,
nation
hey,
thing.
good. Good, no problem, no problem. Keep pushing. We'll keep pushing. Valid points though. You have valid points, so we good. Q, who's responsible for this issue? Is the police for not giving the news company the information, or is the news for not reporting?
The answer is C, all of the above. Um,
Okay,
I mean, the
okay.
news to get the news to report on something, the police got to give them the information. So the police don't give them the information, they can't report on the news. Now, if the police does give them the information and news don't report on it, then it's still the news. But if the police does give them the information, but it's the wrong information, then it's both. So the answer is yes.
Good stuff. And that makes sense. That makes sense. Toya, are you my father? I'm coming with you with this one. So the question is this: is the community being misled by authorities when they say that they are doing all they can do to look at for our babies? That's the main question. But I want, but I want to piggyback on something that, as for the last question I gave Q. So I'm kind of double you up, but I know you're fantastic. You can get this. Ain't no big deal. Do you think one of the reasons not being reported because our community is always on the no, we don't tell what's going on in our house, that is not being reported? Is it on us that our
No,
missing black women be on us, or
no,
is it what we are reporting and it's definitely on them? What's your thoughts on
no.
that?
I don't think that's the reason at all.
Okay,
When your child goes missing, the first thing a parent's going to do is call the police.
okay,
And then of course they'll say, well, 24 hours or how many hours it takes um, to make sure that child is missing.
okay.
But as a parent, you're panicking anyway. As a community, we literally have gone into ourselves to figure it out. And it's a crazy thing. There's a new show called Found on NBC, and it's about a Black sister who was missing, was kidnapped, and nobody was looking for her. And even her kidnapper said that her father wasn't looking for her. Well, he was, but it just was like, they said she ran away, or, but then when another little girl was kidnapped with her, now you got two little Black girls kidnapped, and still nobody was looking for them. They had to free themselves. So what she does now is she finds the missing disparities. So Black kids, Hispanic kids, adults too. So it's a good show. But then we've created the Black and Missing Foundation because of these disparities, because we can't get what we need from the police. And of course, at one time there was a little Black girl missing in New York, and there was a little white girl missing. And this little white girl had international news. It was everywhere. And only local stations in New York talked about this little Black girl missing. But this is what we get for white women's tears and the shame of being a Black woman. So we have to create ourselves to find our own kids, because who can we trust? We can't trust them to protect us. We can't trust them to treat us right, period. Even women nowadays aren't being treated right. I mean, well, it's always been that way by police. So why would we trust them to find us when we're missing? Because there's preconceived notions about what type of people we are, even when it comes to rape victims. It's the same thing. It's like you said, we contact the pimp and the you know and the hustler to see, there's so many backed up rape kits in this country. And the notes on the kits themselves are, oh well, she was fast, or she was in a place that she didn't need to be. None of this matters. But for us, that's what we get. That's how Black women are treated. Go ahead, Ron.
The thing that struck me, and I wanted to go into this, but I didn't want to get off of it, but you kind of brought it out of me. I don't know if y'all remember where a Stanford student raped a young lady that was drunk right next to the garbage can. And he physically sexually assaulted this girl. And the judge essentially gave him a slap on the wrist and let him walk out of court. And that girl was a Caucasian female. And so what strikes me about it is that some of these guys who sit on the bench, and some of these girls too, but mostly guys, have a propensity towards this form of violence.
Hmm.
That it's just a rape is a crime of violence, man. It's a crime of power,
But what was this country built off?
violence.
And
Reverend
rape
Mendez said that. Yeah,
of what?
Reverend Mendez said that. He broke that thing down on Founders Day. So my ultimate concern is, I'm a black man, so I'm going to be pro-black, but I'm talking about how we treat women in general.
Hmm.
Because that's
Yeah.
problematic when we have people that are in the highest office in the land, two of them that were accused of sexual assault, and they walk right into office, and they both
Well,
represent values that that took away women's right to choose in relationship to their health.
yeah, that is a huge, and we see it, and we see it all the time, especially with our judicial system. Sure, we had a president that said he liked to grab women by their genitals, and then we thought it was okay. So so that kind of let we know
Oh,
how, and I say that not to poke fun, or I say that not to throw shade. I say that more so to wake up our community to understand that you could be judges or political figures. We got to care about our own self and not and work about our community and our issues. We can't wait for the judge and the police officer to do the job for us. But that's another story for another day. Playmaker, I'm coming with you with this one, man. Do you believe that what the lawyer was saying earlier in the text that suggests that money is a motivator factor in finding out missing women or missing girls? Is do you believe that's the case?
Yes, I mean, if you're talking about the ratings, I think it's not quite as cut dry like we would like to look at it as, uh, you put this on, your ratings go up, but it is definitely a buzz that happens when, I don't know if you remember, was it in the summer or maybe 2 summers ago, where the lady was driving cross town and with her fiance or husband, and he ended up killing her, and how that was in the news. And every time a little piece of evidence was out, everybody was talking all about that, and it was almost like it was a television show. After a while, every night there was a little bit more of the story. And I think that those stories for some part of America, they can relate a to their daughter being in that type of situation. And I think because of that, people lock in, they tune in. And I think it's unfortunate that it doesn't cover the all of the shades of America, but I do think that does have something to do uh, with the money. Money moves everything around us.
Kareem. Definitely, definitely. So there is a protected Black women and girls act. And what it does is establish an interagency task force to examine the conditions and experiences of Black women and girls in the United States. With this task force, they'll be responsible for things of identifying and assessing efficient policies and programs at the federal, state, and local level to design to improve the outcome of Black missing girls. They are to make recommendations for improvement of the policies and programs for Black missing females. They're covering issues involving black females in education, economics, development, healthcare, justice, civil rights, and housing. They also is responsible for submitting a recommendation to Congress, to the president and each state and local government officials on policies, practice, and programs that should be adopted to improve Black women's outcome. Ron, I'm coming with you with this one. Are these measures enough to fix these issues?
No. The way that you fix these issues is really have um I'm gonna say this, man. At the core of what we're dealing with systemic problems. And those problems are systemic because um the the thought process of a human being that would take another person and traffic another human being, or to rape another human being, or to abduct another human being, is a savage, disrespectful, trifling type of mindset. In order to combat evil, you have to be able to face that evil, and you have to be willing to support and care for women. Um, my big thing is, do you care? I remember being a young kid, man, walking with my peers. We just went walking one day and we seen a young lady, man, and we were too young to fight this dude because he was a grown man, but he was hitting a lady across her leg with a crowbar.
Hmm.
And we went and knocked on the door of a household, and one of the gentlemen came out who was older and knew the guy and jacked him up. You hear me? And the father and the mother took this girl into the house. And what needs to happen is that the community needs to rise up and place more value on these young ladies and their well-being, man. Overall, I'm a big proponent of protect women, all women, but especially Black women, because of the importance of what they are. Um, Minister Farrakhan said something that's really deep. He said, "A nation can rise no higher than its women." So it's important for us to protect and
Staying with the community. Go ahead. I'm saying because I go ahead. Go ahead,
Oh,
Ron. Go ahead.
putting programs in place without the spirit of doing those things and without educating and creating critical thinkers in a community is not going to change this pattern of behavior. We need to create critical thinkers in the community, and we need to implement it in our school system and integrate that into the thought process of these kids. And part of it, I ain't even gonna lie, man, I'm not a big Bible thumper, but we took God out of school. Our children don't have no sense of God. So you're gonna see a deviation of behavior. But that's just my point.
Along, I'm gonna jump into you too. Along the lines of community, what are some of the other steps that be taken by the community to protect our Black females?
I want to
Girls,
go off of I want to piggyback off of what Ron said first.
you can.
So when we think about the history and we think about us as a people and how we were brought here in the first place, it was a violent behavior of how we were brought here. And as women, we were treated probably the most violent. We have been sexualized. We are, I'm not going to say we have been. Black women are sexualized from the age of 5, since the time they brought us over on that slave ship. We were treated as cattle to breed for white men, to breed Black men and Black women for white men. So the fact that this initiative has been brought up and all these things are put into place, why? Why? Why hasn't it been passed yet? Should be the question that you ask yourself. We are probably the most educated women on this planet. I don't even say in this country, I say on this planet. And we are treated the lowest on the totem pole and have always been. It's so funny this weekend, my mother's birthday and the kids, they all went to dinner, but because of the pneumonia, I couldn't go. And as they were out to dinner, the waiter pulled my brother to the side at the end as they were walking out, and he said, this is a white waiter, and he said, I want to say that these were the most, and the girls got a table, it was four of them, got a table by themselves. It was like 20 people. So they got a table, he said it was the most well-behaved young ladies he had ever seen. And they're so intelligent. And the conversations that they were having. Now we hear this all the time, but when I hear it, I think of the scene in The Color Purple when the mayor's wife says, your children are so well behaved. You want to be my maid? That's always what I think of when I hear that my kids are well behaved. Because we are constantly treated like slave women. And so, as I said before, our community, we as a people have to come together to protect ourselves and protect one another. Not just Black men protecting Black women, but Black women protecting Black men and same, because Black boys go missing too. Black boys are trafficked too, and sexualized too. So it's upsetting to me to think that we have to go through all of this and laws and stuff like that, where other people it's just natural for them to be protected and to think, okay, if they go missing, we have to look at, Amber Alert was made for a girl named Amber. It wasn't a little Black girl, it was a little white girl. And for us to have to go through so much just to get an Amber Alert out for our children is a problem. It's 2023. These are problems. That is upsetting that we're still not seen as a whole person. We're not. And that's the problem. So our community needs to get together. We need to get back to the days that we've talked about in the past, where our dollars mattered inside the community and it pissed them off outside the community. Where we were a community that stood together and protected each other and watched out for one another. Because at that time, we didn't have a choice. Because you can be lynched, you can walk somewhere and go missing or be raped. So we paid attention. So more of it is paying attention. And like I said, this neighborhood is a blue neighborhood, and it is a predominantly Black neighborhood. So the cops that do live here are Black cops, whereas these kids getting on a school bus at 5 o'clock in the morning are watched. And you are lucky to have parents. So things like that need to happen all over the city. All over all cities, especially inner cities.
Good stuff. Q, come with you with this one. What are some of the things that you believe women can do to better protect themselves from attack?
Get the strap. No,
you do have the right to bear arms, sir. There is a legal right to bear arms, sir.
Okay, for real.
You're right,
answer.
No, that's valid. That's valid.
It's valid, but okay, real answer. If you go somewhere, instead, even if it's a sneaky link, tell somebody where you're going and tell them you got there. Tell at least one person. Because all it takes is one person like, oh yeah, she was supposed to be there. Yeah, but she never made it. Oh, well, now you know what the route where she was. Tell one person where you're going.
Okay.
Or if it's legal in your state until they start cracking down on it, but that's a different conversation. Get the strap.
Get the strap. I'm strapped, Q.
Guys, stay strapped. Playmaker, with this crisis, what do they say about the values of this country's culture? And how do we value our Black females? I'm gonna go not girls or boys, but value our Black females.
Well, I mean, I think by looking at the stats by themselves, it's been a crisis that's been going on for quite a while. I'm glad that it's getting more attention. I know they're passing a lot of laws and setting up a lot of agencies to kind of help with this issue, but it's a huge problem that it's like Toya said, it's taken them a very long time to even identify and to begin to address with the steps that are kind of taking place now. So I think it shows that The stat shows that it is a huge problem. Now that you're hearing some things that are going across Biden's desk to try to get passed, that it is starting to get some traction, but it still needs a lot more traction to get these numbers down.
Good stuff, guys. Very good stuff. We'll continue the conversation about missing black female because it's definitely important. Remember, it do take a village to raise not just a child, but a village. Look out for everybody. Let's create our village again. Hey, guys, we have a few more minutes, so make it quick, guys. Last words of the night. RJ, you first.
To really touch on something, Cleveland has a disturbing number of missing youth teens, boys and girls. A disturbing number. And identifying that, we must really understand that black bodies are big business. So, ladies and gentlemen, protect yourselves. Be aware. I seen a clip today where a gentleman brazenly tried to abduct a lady that was on a run on the side of a road. And human trafficking is at an all-time high. So just be careful, be aware, be alert.
Quentin, last word.
Okay. I'll make it as quick as I can. I'm on a college campus that has a church on the campus. I'm on a Baptist college campus. I take all religion taught by a former preacher who preached for, I believe, 20 plus years. I take his Old Testament religion class. I've learned two things. Well, I've learned a lot, but two things that have shocked me. One, Jesus was petty. That's one. He was. Jesus once killed a tree because it wasn't in season. That's one.
Okay.
Two, there are some gay people in the Bible. When you read it and he explains it, there's some gay people in the Bible.
Okay.
At least on two separate instances, how he explained it, saying, "Oh yeah, they love each other very much." And I was like, "Yeah, but they were those two men shared a bed." This woman said wedding vows to this woman. But you gonna tell me they just good friends?
Okay.
I'm still on the Jesus was petty. That's how you know he was black.
Good thought. Playmaker, last words. Good thoughts.
My last word is, be conscious of your surroundings. It's starting to get dark a lot earlier. If you got to get gas, try to get gas a little bit earlier instead of when it's super dark out. If you're going out with friends, go out in groups. Just be very protected, be very conscious of your surroundings, and always try to be safe and keep your head on a swivel.
Tori, your last words.
Pay attention to your children. And if you see other children out and about, this conversation is very near and dear to my heart because as a Black woman, North Carolina has one of the highest trafficking rates in the country. Henderson, North Carolina, probably has the highest, which is a small 2-bit town. But like I said, we're sexualized so early that why not take us? It's like exotic. Us and indigenous women. So like everybody said, pay attention to your surroundings, pay attention, watch what's going on. And I'm gonna be quick. One night we were in Target, me and the girls, and another Black woman, we were on the same aisle, and this guy followed us on every aisle. Now they're having these things where men follow you, and then they'll follow you outside the store and try to, grab you then. But me and the woman stayed with each other throughout the store. We checked out together because I told her I was packing. And we walked out. I made sure she got to her car, and we got in our car. And the guy just, ignored us. But things like this happen. You have to literally pay attention to your surroundings.
Good stuff. We need to go back, and I'm gonna change up because I had another one, but we need to go back as Black men and I know we beat the dead horse, but the same scenario. Be observant. be a little more observant when you're in the grocery stores or when you're in Target. If you see young sisters out there by themselves, don't hover, don't try to and push yourself on them. But at the same time, look around the surroundings to make sure that everything's okay. If they not, but no, you're notifying officials when you see something fishy, or notifying somebody when you see something out of line. Let us go back to taking care of our village. We can't wait for nobody else to take care of us. We got to take care of ourselves, guys, and we can do it. Hey, what a great show. We will continue the conversation. Please, guys, please do your research on missing black women. There is an issue. We just need to take care of our women, take care of ourselves. And like always, guys, may your next move definitely be the game changer. Thank you for your support and have a great evening. Peace.